I think it's no secret that I love to dye my hair. I think we all are well aware of that. I dyed my hair for the first time at around about 13, 14 years old, but I started dyeing my hair crazy colours at around about, I want to say, yeah, 16 years old. And because of that, I get asked a lot of questions from strangers, from family, from friends. It's crazy the amount of attention you get from having bright hair, and anyone who has bright hair will understand what I mean by that. I do get asked a lot of questions, like I said, about everything. Like they could ask anything. Like I never really know what to expect, apart from the odd few same questions. Every time I'm asked something about my hair or how I do something a certain way, I'm always honest, and the reason for that is because I never want it to look like it's easy to do your hair crazy colours. It's normal for me now and I'm kind of used to it, but when I started explaining what I go through to people for the first time, they were really shocked and they're like, what? And so it got to a point where I felt like, not embarrassed about the fact I do so much to achieve my hair, but kind of like, wait, am I putting too much effort into my hair? Like, why are these people so shocked about maintaining my hair? But then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? There's no point saying to people that, oh, I just dyed it like blue and, you know, get on with my life. That is not the case. Like, I like to make it really clear that it is quite difficult at times, especially when you don't have a lot of money or you don't have a lot of time to keep up your hair colour. So I'm very clear and honest about it. And usually how it goes down is the person who's asking me a question usually says something like, oh, your hair colour is like so beautiful, or I've always wanted that hair colour, oh, it's such a rich, bright hair colour, like how do you achieve that? They start off really interested, okay, and they ask these questions about how you do it and whatnot, and then you answer their questions like you should, honestly, like I said, like I do, honestly, and then they usually like instantly turn off the idea of having brightly coloured hair. Like my goal isn't to put them off, my goal is just to tell them what I do, and then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, that's what you do to get that hair colour, do you? They kind of like pull this face like, and then they just suddenly like stop asking about it. They often remember what I've said and they will bring it up like months, weeks, even years later down the line. They're like, how's your hair colour doing? Or are you still having those cold showers and things like that? Because you've got to wash your hair with cold water. But it's just funny how like it shocks a lot of people. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a video on the truth behind having bright hair, and it is very difficult to try and like not warn people, but just kind of make them aware that it is a process and it's a dedication and it's almost a full-time job. Even though this video is very negative, all of this stuff has never stopped me from wanting to go bright, and I would never recommend it enough. Like I can't feel confident without having bright hair anymore. That's why I continue dyeing my hair, if you've ever wondered. So let's get into some things you need to know. Yes, you do need to bleach your hair, and it's crazy that I need to say this because a lot of people ask me this and I'm like, of course you do. Even if you have naturally blonde hair, it's probably best to at least give your hair like a little bit of a bleach bath. You can look into what they are, but they're just not as damaging as like bleaching your hair entirely, unless you want to go like just a dark red or a dark blue or something quite dark. You're probably fine as a natural blonde. To get something really bright or maybe even pastel colours, you have to start really, really light. And if you've never bleached your hair before and you're blonde already, or like sandy blonde, I think that lightening up just to the maximum you can without doing too much damage is probably a good shout, to be fair. That being said, when you go into the world of introducing bleach into your life, you need to start prioritizing what you use on your hair. So for me, since I have to bleach my roots like every month and a half, that means that I've always got like bleach in my hair. Like I'm always going to have areas in my hair that has touched bleach. The way I kind of say it is that I have chosen to go bright colours. Other people maybe choose to have like the perfect kind of texture, like a really beautiful finish, shiny hair, strong hair, or maybe like some people focus mainly on styling their hair with different curlers, wavers, straighteners, hair dryers, and all sorts of like tongs of all sorts. I'm not saying I can't do that anymore, but I probably need to do that less than I would like to if I don't want my hair to fall out. So it's one of those things where once you go a bright colour, you're kind of like dedicating your hair to like focusing on that, if that makes sense. I'm not saying you can't do it, but just kind of like steady on, you know. If you're going to spend money on bleaching your hair, maybe you do it at home, maybe you get someone else to do it for you. Spending money on this hair colour will be involved. So you want to purchase some good hair conditioners and hair shampoo, because that will help the condition of your hair stay nice. So basically, take extra care, because your hair is now fragile. I'm not saying like when you dye your hair for the first time it's just going to like turn into a bristly brush or something, but you've just got to kind of like be more gentle to it and think about it a bit more. Damage on my hair is probably one of the main things people ask me about. They say, does your hair feel damaged now? Like, what's the condition of your hair like now? I remind people so often that I don't technically damage my hair too different to your standard woman who gets her highlights done every so often, because all I do, I've said this time and time again on the internet, I'm sorry if you've heard this way too many times come out of my mouth, is bleach my roots every month and a bit, which is what a lot of people actually do. But the colour I put on my hair, so this blue for instance, the red, the pink, the purple, all these colours that I've been, they were all vegan, plant, vegetable-based dyes from Manic Panic. I cannot recommend them enough. Hair dye that is made from vegetables. So that part of the dye isn't damaging. It's not the colour part, it's just the bleach part which is damaging. So that's why my hair isn't falling out. That's why my hair isn't the best of condition, but it's pretty good for the amount of colours I've been in 17, 18, 19, 20, in 5 years. I've been so many colours in 5 years, yet my hair hasn't fallen out, because I try my best just to wash out the colour and then plonk a vegetable-based dye on top. The people who bleach out their colour every time they want to change their hair colour are the ones with damaged hair. However, if a colour doesn't budge from my hair from just washing it a lot, or like using various home remedies that are supposed to be good for your hair to get rid of, like this blue for instance, this is a difficult colour to take out. So this may involve bleach bathing my hair, but what I'm basically saying is, when you are going into the hair dye world and maybe you know that you're going to be switching up different hair colours, do your research and look into what colour will probably be best to go after the colour you've got now. The reason I say that is because there is such thing as a colour wheel, and this colour wheel is basically every brightly coloured person's Bible. So you use this to work out what colour is best to go on top of what you got. You basically got to look on the other end of the colour wheel to work out what cancels out what you've got. So for instance, I would like to go like a coppery reddish tone after this, because it's on the opposite side of the scale to blue, and it will cancel out the blue the best, if that makes any sense. So I couldn't just wake up and be like, I don't fancy blue anymore, and then go a different colour that I just fancy. I mean, I could, but that would involve a lot more damage, because I'd have to really strip all this blue out. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but do your research and look into, like, if I could work out how many hours I've spent Googling things like, what's the best hair colour to go after red, or what does blue look like on top of faded pink, like, just do your research. Basically, we're really lucky that we have the internet and we can look up other people's mistakes, we can look up other people's successes, we can be inspired by a colour someone's been and work out how they did it and do it on ourselves. It's actually a lot more planning than people think. Like, when I tell someone, oh, I'm gonna go this colour next, they're like, oh really? And I'm kind of wanting to say to them, oh, it's because it's probably best to put that on top of a faded colour of what I've got now. But then I'd have to explain to them like this whole spiel that I just told you about the colour wheel and stuff, and people already look at me blankly when I try to explain the hair dyeing process of everything anyway, so I just usually be like, I'm gonna go red because I want to, but really it's because it's probably best and I fancy a change. Which reminds me, if you're fussy about what hair colours you might want to go, like if you're quite insecure as a person, like if you don't want to physically stand outside with an ugly colour on your head at one point in your life, then it's probably best not to to go into the world of bright coloured hair, because switching up hair colours is not a straightforward process. Like, if you want to go just maybe pink and then after pink you're going to go back natural, that's fine, do it, like run for the hills, go get your pink hair, girl. But if you're somebody who wants to like change up hair colours like I do every now and again, then you've got to be prepared to some days go a week looking awful, and some days trying to go blue and realising it's gone green or something, but just having to like ride it out and just carry on with trial and error, because that is very important. For instance, maybe if you want to cancel out a hair colour you've got now and you've got to go a colour you don't actually want to go, you've just got to kind of sometimes do it. I mean, there might be a way around it. You might actually find that your hair worked fine when you switched up a hair colour, because everyone's kind of different. Some people have terrible horror stories and some people just happen to be all right all the time. It's one of those things that you if you're the type of person who doesn't like looking the tiniest bit a bit crap, then it's probably not good for you. Achieving a hair colour does not always take like a night, so I won't sit in my bedroom one night and say, oh, I fancy changing my hair colour and sorting it out for the next day. Like, sometimes I can aim to get my hair changed in an evening or something, but then when the morning comes it doesn't look anything like I've just told my friends and family I'm going to dye my hair, and everyone ends up saying to me like, what have you done? Like, that doesn't look like what you told us it was going to look like. But I have to explain, it's a working process, I'm getting there. Like this blue, for instance, this took me a lot longer to achieve than I thought it was going to. I think I dyed this about 4 months ago now, and it's only just kind of got to the shade I like, purely because I wasn't sure what shade to get. Manic Panic, the hair dye I use, has so many different shades. Sometimes it's really overwhelming to work out which one it is you need to get what you want. You've got to consider what hair colour you've got underneath, like I was saying earlier. You've got to consider what tones are inside the dye that you're buying. So like, you can have pink based reds, you can have green based blues, like all the hair dyes come with bases, and you've got to look into that, like I was saying about the research. I'm making this sound like such a bore, but honestly to me it's quite fun. If you're the type of person to get insecure about a certain shade, don't do it, but I'm not. So if I dye my hair like copper red and end up with something that doesn't look copper red, I'm like, oh well, like it's fun to kind of experiment with shades. I find it fun, so if you don't think like this sounds like any fun, then it's probably not for you. Yes, my hair fades, and people always say, how often do I need to re-dye it? That depends on what shade I've got on my head. It also depends on what I've been doing in that month, like if I've gone swimming or if I've been in the sun. It also depends on what I had underneath my hair. Oh, so many things. If you've had your hair bleached blonde and then you put pink on top, chances are you're not going to really need to re-dye that very often. Just re-dye it when you want it bright, like really bright again. But yes, hair dye fades, and sometimes it can literally fade. Well, it fades every time you wash it. The colour you get when you first dye your hair is probably the exact colour you want, right? In some cases you're like, yes, this is perfect, but like, you need to remember that shade is going to change every time. Like I said, I enjoy that. Sometimes I dye my hair and I don't like how it looks the first time I've washed it, so I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what this is going to look like when it fades. Like, sometimes I prefer the faded colour. So an example would be, I do my blue every 3 weeks. I used to do my red every like 2 weeks, because red fades quick, like it fades to this kind of weird colour, whereas blue fades to a nice colour. Like I said, I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy just watching a program and like putting the stain stuff on my head and just sitting there. You can sleep in that stain stuff and then wash it off the next day if you want to, but you've obviously got to wear a towel over your head. And it's kind of relaxing to me. And also, hair dye I use is so conditioning. It's so nice. And sometimes my hair, I feel like my hair craves that like nice feeling I get after using conditioning hair dye. So I enjoy the process personally. Some people don't, some people do. Or make your best friend do it for you. You're also going to need, this is something that scares a lot of people off, you're also going to need to start washing your hair with cold water. That's an important part, because if you use warm water, it will open up your hair follicles and all the dye will just come running out, and that sort of sucks, unless you like the faded colour. Like I'm saying, I keep repeating myself now, but I just want to make it clear. So wash your hair separately from your body, because obviously you don't want to have a cold shower, and then have a shower later that day, or like afterwards, or have a bath and like keep my hair in a towel. It's a bit of dedication. That's why I was saying it's like a full-time job, because your life kind of little parts in your life sort of start changing. Another thing is you can't wash your hair as much as you did before, which actually I would recommend to not do anyway. I used to wash my hair every day, and it got to a point where I was really worried about the fact it got greasy so quickly, and I'd ask lots of people about it and I'd say, why is my hair getting greasy so quick? And it used to make me feel super insecure. I used to wash my hair and then wake up the next day and it would already be like a little bit greasy from like washing it the night before. I got really confused about it, and then that's when I started dyeing my hair a lot more, and my hair just naturally became a lot more drier, because I think when your hair's not in the best condition, it tends not to get as greasy as much. But as well as that, I had to stop washing my hair as much. So if I wasn't going out, I just had to be this big grease ball in the house. Because you don't want to wash that lovely hair colour you've got out. You want to keep it in, so I cannot recommend dry shampoo enough. So I just spray a bit of that into my roots when it feels greasy, and it fixes your hair like that. Like, oh my god, if you have really bad greasy hair frequently, get dry shampoo. It will be your new best friend. My hair just kind of like stopped being as greasy all the time. And that also helps because, like I said, you're not washing your hair so much. And your hair kind of naturally learns to condition, to wash itself. Because if you think about it, like shampoo and conditioner isn't natural products. We're not going to find that in nature. How are we supposed to wash our hair if we don't have shampoo and conditioner? If we don't have factories to make that for us? Well, we're supposed to just technically wash our hair with water. Some people are actually able not to wash their hair for months, and their hair learns to wash them itself, but that's some dedication. I'm not sure if I could go that far, but it is possible. Some people do it. However, you can train your hair not to get as greasy. Well, I did anyway. It worked for me. Something that tends to shock people, if I go on holiday with someone or they just like spend a lot of time with me, they will notice my hair just kind of like transfers onto everything. So it will stain a lot of things. It will stain pillowcases, shirts, other people's faces. I've stained my boyfriend's face before. I've had to explain to people that I'm on a holiday with, I can't like put my head in the water because it will run. Or I've explained to them that I can put my head in the water because I dyed my hair a colour that allows me to, i.e. blue, because it's a lot harder to fade blue and it doesn't run as much as other hair colours. I've had to explain this to a lot of people and they don't tend to get the point. Like, they're like, is it worth it? Like, the fact that your head is essentially staining everything, is that worth having blue hair? Yes. Yes, it is. You've got to kind of experiment with different shades. Like, some certain manic panic shades will stain a lot more than others, and that's another thing I tend to look up before I buy a shade. I look at the colour it comes out, obviously, how quickly it fades, what colour it fades to, and if it stains everything. Those are the main key things I look up before I buy a shade of hair dye. Obviously, your workplace is something you need to consider if you want to go a bright hair colour. You probably need to explain to your boss or whatever what you're planning to do, if you're allowed to do it. I've known people to ask their boss and their boss just straight up saying no, and then they witness a work colleague do the exact colour that they wanted, but the boss doesn't mind because it just sounds a lot worse when you say to your boss, hey, I want to go this like bright red colour, how does that sound? And they're like, no. But then when they like witness someone on it and it like suits them, it looks nice and it looks kind of professionally done and healthy and stuff, I just feel like it just sounds a lot worse than what it appears. It's like I've known some people to like slowly go into it, so instead of like straight up coming into work one day and having a crazy hair colour, sort of like start like a mahogany and then start going like cherry, dark cherry red, you know, and then like gradually working your way up. This is if you want to go red, for example. Rather than like shocking. But I don't really want to give that advice because it sounds really bad. I don't want to get you guys fired and whatever, but it's probably best to maybe ask around your workplace and ask whether they know anything about like previous people that work there, if what the company thinks about hair dye. I don't know. That's a tricky one because I work from home. People always ask me like, what does your work say about it? Well, I look after myself, so I say, do it, Ellie, it makes you happy. I wish all bosses said that, to be fair. As I was saying earlier, your dream colour will be a process. Don't kind of assume you want to go this colour and you will get that colour quickly. Like, for red, I sometimes have to kind of like work towards a certain red. So I would start with a very dark toned red and slowly, gradually build up to a bright red. And how I will do that is go dark red and then let it fade, and then go a brighter red, let it fade, go a brighter red. The reason I do that is because I like to know that my hair has like a nice base to it. Like if I just plopped bright cherry reds on top of this, I wouldn't feel comfortable. Like it would probably turn out very patchy, probably not make it fade to a nice colour. I don't really know how to explain what I mean, but sometimes your dream shade can't be achieved straight off the bat. Kind of think for the future. A lot of it is just common sense. That being said though, your dream hair colour may not suit you. You need to remember that not all hair colours suit certain types of people, depending on things like skin tone, maybe even hairstyles, haircuts. I don't really know the way around that. The only colour I kind of know that doesn't suit me is blonde, because I'm quite pale and it just sort of like drowns me out a bit and just makes me look ill. And I get a lot of stick online about having red or blue or whatever colour I've got on my head or my hands quite a bit. And they're like, ew, why does she have red hands? Oh, I hate how you always have blue hands. Sometimes when your hair's fresh and you're washing your hair like you do on a weekly basis, like doing your weekly wash, which is what I do once a week, it will come on your hands because the blue is washing out. Like, sue me, okay? All those people that say that to me, you don't understand the struggle, okay? Just leave me and my blue hands alone. If all of these things are completely fine to you and you want to enter the world of bright hair, then welcome. It's a great journey. It's an amazing process. I've learned so much. I don't regret any hair colour ever, because it was all something that I learned doing, and it's been fun and I enjoy experimenting. And sometimes it's a bit of a bitch when you go a hair colour and realise, oh wait, I now can't wear anything that hair colour because I will just look like, I don't know, a tomato or something. Like, I hate that I can't wear red when I have red hair because it just makes me look really overdone. You learn how to deal with those things and it's great. So welcome to the mermaid world. Enjoy your stay. Let me know what colour you are, if you are a certain colour or if you're going a certain colour. I will see you for my next video, which will be very soon. I'm on social media such as Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already to be notified every time I make a new video. Bye!